Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back after a quick break from your weekly content to episode number 3 of Snow Day Sports. I am your host, Dalton Barrett, along with Max Slinden. Max, how we doing today?
We're doing great. We're doing great. Missed doing last week's episode, but I'm glad after a short break to be back.
Yeah, same here, Life's been crazy for us lately, so maybe it wasn't the worst thing in the world. We could kind of comprehend our minds more after the Timberwolves' abominable Game 5 performance, which we'll get into here in a second. But first, Game 4. What were your reactions to that game?
That one would have been a really nice one to take. I mean, you're down 2-1 in the series. You're at home. It could even be like 2-2. You feel good. You gotta work your tail off. It's still gonna be a good series, but you're right in it. And especially like down 2-1, like, and you gotta take that. And it was close the entire way. And yeah, though that was gut wrenching not to be able to get that one.
Yeah, this one just hurts for a lot of reasons. I mean, the Timberwolves are going to need to play their best game in that game, and which I felt like they played pretty close to perfect on the offensive end of things. It's just the Thunder were hitting shots that I, they're not making most of the time. I don't feel like that was just one of those games where, as a Timberwolves fan, it was all right. If we couldn't win this game, we're just not going to win the series, type of thing. I mean, it was that's just a frustrating game. I mean, we were in it the entire time, and it was just one of those where it just sucks to be a Timberwolves fan in that game. You look at the stats and everything. It's like, what's his face? Akil Alexander Walker. Like he went off of that game with 23. I mean, easily his best playoff game by far of his career. I mean, he was shooting the lights out, 5 of 8 from beyond the arc. I mean, even Dante DiVincenzo had played a great game. He had 21 points. He was 5 of 8 from beyond the arc as well. I mean, but at the end of the day, you just can't finish. We just couldn't get it done. I mean, you ask for to get that kind of production out of those guys, and you finally do, and you just can't finish. That's just frustrating for me.
No, exactly. And I think the two biggest things during our last episode we talked about was playing good defense and getting scoring out of the bench. We definitely got the scoring out of the bench. You talked about the two 20-point scorers. Again, and we talked about too, we expected it to be a lowish scoring game and that winning team probably going to have 115. I bet if you told us the Timberwolves were going to score 125 points, we would have signed up and assumed we were going back to OKC with a 2-2 game, 2-2 series, and just unfortunately couldn't get stops when we needed. And it was just an interesting game. We were always in it, but we didn't have a lead very long. We were always trailing. We were always like hanging around to make it
Hmm.
close and make it competitive and be within striking distance always, but we were never playing from the lead. And that's just it's tough to do that. And it would have been nice. We saw the Pacers do that in game one. They led for zero point 0.3 seconds and got the win in game one. It would have been nice to see our Timberwolves do something a little bit similar, but they're watching from Cancun right now because they were unable to do that.
Hmm. I mean, one person that gets a lot of the attention, unfortunately, is even though I mean he is arguably the league's best up and coming superstar, Anthony Edwards. I mean, I'm not trying to harp on the guy, but I mean, 16 points the other night or that game, 1 of 7 from beyond the arc. I mean, I felt like he could drive at will type of thing. He's just that good of an athlete. It's just his 3-point shooting kind of fell apart there. Same with honestly the majority of our team. Like Ant was 1 of 7, Mike Conley was 2 of 5, Dade McDaniel was 3 of 6, Julius Randle 0 of 3. I mean, for a team that really kind of relies on the 3-point shot, it was just when you're not hitting those shots, it's going to be tough to win ball games.
Yeah, for sure. And like, especially when you have Ant with the driving ability Ant does have, it'd been nice to have maybe a couple more threes and maybe see him drive more. But It's just sometimes the shots don't fall, and that's basketball, and it's how adaptive can you be and how many different ways can you attack teams so you don't have to rely on the three-pointer. And can you wear teams down defensively, win a defensive battle, win when your shots, especially from beyond the three, aren't falling. And Thunder did that better than the Timberwolves did.
Hmm. I mean, then like, you look at like I mean, I guess the Thunder, they're kind of everybody talks about them with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA, and Chet Holmgren. Well, it was freaking Lou Dort, or I mean, he played even though he didn't like the stat sheet at all. I mean, he played tough inside on Rudy. Um, what's his face here? Jalen Williams really. I mean, yeah, you can look at SGA. He had 40 points, but Jalen Williams had 34. I mean, as someone who's supposed to be kind of a role player, I mean, even though he's in their starting lineup, doesn't get talked about a whole lot. I mean, you can't give up 34 points to him if you want a chance to, win these games, type of thing.
Especially given the fact that you've given up 40 points to Shea as well.
Right.
It's almost got to be one or the other. Like you can live with Jane Williams scoring 34 points if you're just focusing all of that defensive touch attention on Shea to limit him as best as possible. But when you're giving up 40 points to Shea, that means that Shea should have a good majority of the points. And if another guy has 34, you're not going to win too many games.
And you look at Chet Holmgren as well. He had 21, and I mean, I was honestly surprised when he missed from beyond the arc because it seemed like the entire series, it seemed like he couldn't miss.
Playing like a top five NBA draft pick and number one high school prospect in the nation and showing why. And it's just a great compliment to that team just to be able to not only score at all three levels, and that's just really hard to defend. And just as a unicorn in the NBA.
Hmm. So I mean, that was a game where I felt as if Timberwolves kind of afterwards, Timberwolves kind of said, "All right, that's all we got left," type of thing. If we don't win this game, it ain't gonna happen. But I kind of felt that way as a fan as well. It was, man, we put all our marbles into this game and came up short. So I think they kind of broke us there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they being down 3-1 against that team seems impossible. And like they kind of just mentally checked out, and it is what it is. If we knew what their record at OKC was, being the Thunder, how good of a home team they were, I'm sure they knew it. And yeah, they just kind of felt deflated after game four, and that kind of carried over into game five. And I think we've put more effort about game five than they did during game five, in my humble opinion.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was over with probably 6 minutes to go in the first quarter.
Yeah, it was not pretty. Timberwolves ended up losing that game 124-94, and it's and it didn't really feel like at any point we were in that game type of thing. We were just, I don't know. Yeah,
It was yeah. No, it was over early.
yeah. I mean, I mean that kind of felt like the epitome of Minnesota sports, in my opinion. We get so close year after year, and I mean, you look back at it with the Vikings back in the year of the Minneapolis Miracle. We thought, after the divisional round, or this is the year. I mean, next week we will get our freaking teeth knocked out in Philadelphia.
Mhm.
And after the first two rounds, I mean, this was just a slap in the face. It felt like, I mean, and it's the way it goes, I guess. But it, this was just not the ideal way to go out for the season.
No, for sure not. But I think it's also you got to look at back and do it like even like 5 years ago. I feel like a lot of Timberwolves fans would have killed to go to back-to-back finals and to be there. Yeah, it sucks now, but you can look at the core of this team and be like, this is a finals caliber team and this is a championship caliber team. It's when are they going to take the next step
Mhm.
to go there? And still only 23.
Right.
Not
I mean,
like
but we are well within I guess, a championship title run time here, I feel like. I mean, if we keep putting pieces around him in the off seasons here, I mean, you look at some guys, they're maybe getting a little older, but we can find pieces, I feel like, that are going to be able to complement Ant in his game and hopefully take us to the next level here.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the interesting aspect. Like, yeah, it's going to be an interesting offseason who not only we acquire, but also who we lose among Julius Randle, Naz Reid, Neil Alexander Walker. And if we can get some assets in return via sign and trade, re-sign a couple guys, or maybe get a big fish that's in the sea out there with
Mhm.
losing one or two of those guys.
You know, one thing I would really like the T-Wolves to target though is a true kind of point guard. We had Mike Conley. He was our starting point guard, you could say, but Ant was bringing the ball majority of the time. I feel like we need someone almost like I'm not gonna ask for SGA because I absolutely bothers the heck out of me the way he plays. And but someone that can spread the ball around, can make plays on his own when needed. I mean, no offense to Mike Conley, but I mean, age is kind of catching up to him out of his prime. We need someone that's young that can, run the offense, get at the ball where he needs to be. I mean, that's just my personal opinion there, but
Yeah, it'll be interesting if they have to go out and get somebody, or if they can do move Rod Dillingham into taking more of the role, taking a big step up. He was a top 10 pick last year for the T-Wolves. Didn't really get a lot of playing time this playoffs or this season. So that would be a very crucial development for this offseason if they can get Rob Dillingham to take a bigger role when next season comes to help take that pressure off of Ant because yeah, Mike Conley wasn't brought in here to be a scorer. And it'd be nice to have maybe a better point guard when it comes to that scoring aspect to take some of that weight off of Ant because we still need a second scorer besides Ant
hmm
that can do what everything on the court. Julius Randle's a nice player and all, but he kind of becomes a black hole at times, and sometimes the shots go in, but it's especially difficult when those shots aren't going in and he can't facilitate an offense.
hmm
Hope like a true point guard could, and he can score. He has a pretty good scoring touch, but I think you need like true, a better score from that guard position to take some of the weight off of Ant.
hmm I mean, I also, I mean, look at guys on our bench. I mean, Luka Garza, for example. I mean, I kind of have a thing for him purely because as a Minnesota fan, he torched our Gophers for many years. That when he was playing for Iowa, I mean, it seemed like whenever he was on the court against the Gophers, he was dropping 40 or something. I mean, I know the Gophers basketball hasn't been outstanding, but it's just can he take that next step to be a producer at the NBA level? Which I mean, everybody knows. I mean, he can shoot, but is that just what he can do? Type of thing. I mean, I've heard from multiple people. I mean, he needs to play defense. He needs to be able to get inside and you know, I guess be a kind of a thrasher in there. But I mean, that's the one that I would kind of be demanding to step up. But
I could see him if we do lose Naz Reid this summer. I could see him filling nicely into that Naz Reid spot. I feel like they are very similar players and have very similar styles. And Luka Garza was not just a 40-point scorer against the Gophers. He did that to a lot of college teams. And I could see him stepping up into that role because he is a bucket when he's out on the court.
I
And
mean, he not saying much because it was a garbage time out there, but I mean, he was impressive when he was shooting when he was shooting the rock in the playoffs.
yeah, you subscribe to the old adage it's easier to score up 20 than up one.
I mean, yeah,
But yeah, no, I could see him filling well into that slot. I feel like if you're going to lose, obviously Nasri is a cult hero, but there's already been whispers about multiple teams making an offer he can't refuse. Would it be nice? Hopefully, he can become a sign and trade candidate.
Hmm.
so we could at least recoup some assets if we can't re-sign him. And I think Naz Reid, and we do have a replacement, so I wouldn't be. He could be of the three I listed: Julius Randle, Nah, and Naz Reid. I feel like he would be the easiest to replace out of those three. And we got to lose one.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, that's just the reality of it. Is hopefully we can work some magic and keep all three. But I don't see that being a realistic possibility. I could. It's probably gonna have to lose one, and I could see Naz Reid be the most replaceable out of the three and get us the most return too, potentially in a sign and trade.
Hmm. Yeah, then I mean, I also feel like no offense to Rudy Gobert, great defender, but we need someone that can consistently score on the inside as well. I mean, you really saw his lack of offense show in these last few playoff series. I mean, great defender and great rebounder, but he's not someone you can really put out there when you need to go, you need to be on scoring runs a year. I mean, we need someone that's productive from the paint, and I just, I just don't see that with Rudy.
Yeah, there's just times where he's just a offensive liability. He's just like incapable of scoring, and like you can live with it a little bit when it's from three, and he's
Hmm.
got that great rim protection. No, but he can't even score in sky either at times, and it's just like
Hmm.
you need
And,
to pick something to be good at offensively.
and teams were keen on that as well, type of thing. It was, all right, we're going to put our worst defender on him because we're not worried about him scoring outside the 2 foot line type of thing. So, and that just added to the pressure of our outside shooters. And when we weren't hitting, it was tough.
Right, exactly. And I don't know how much better offensively he would be, but I would love to see him get on the jugs machine this summer because it's you've seen it with the Lakers. He's good offensively if he can catch the ball.
Hmm.
And like you said, game five against the Lakers, when he had that monster game, he was catching everything. And that is just what made him so great. And just there's times where it's like you wonder if he's ever seen a basketball before. It's just like he's got, and I would love to see him on a jug machine. I don't know how that would work with the basketball.
Hmm.
Hopefully they could find something. Like just keep and do some mic and drills and be on the jug machine all summer. And I think that would be a great step up for Rudy offensively.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, you can't take away, I mean, the impact he had defensively, but I mean, I feel like we're kind of being picky that, we're asking a 7 footer to, you know, it seems like we're asking him to put 15 points up a game, but it's like if we want to take that next level as an organization, we need that out of him type of thing. You can't just be a rim protector and defend defend well on the inside. You got if we want to take that next step, you got to be able to even score 10 points a night just to keep defenses honest and just frustrating from my end.
Yeah, for sure. And like for as much as we pay him, he's got to
Hmm.
produce a little bit. I'm not even like asking for 10 points. I'm asking for like I need him to shoot like 60% from field goal. And there's just times where it's like he's just bricking the bunnies too. It's like,
Uh,
geez.
almost Angel Reese like at some point.
Yeah. 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 At times it's but he doesn't eventually put it in. Eventually they just get the defensive rebound. And it's just
Right.
like sometimes you want to pull your hair out.
So I mean, I haven't looked too much into what the Timberwolves have for the draft here, so I don't know if you have a lot of info on that, but
No,
well, they.
I don't know. Whatever we do have, I would love to see it thrown maybe into a trade just to get more a seasoned scorer in the NBA.
Mhm.
We're not going to get Cooper Flag. We're not going to get Ace Bailey. We're not going to get any of those guys. At that point, it's just like, can we throw a couple assets in there to get a more seasoned scorer? Now, is
Mhm.
that probably a big ask? Yeah. Is that going to get it done? Definitely not. And probably going to have to throw in some more other assets to make sure that deal gets done. But and who
Mhm.
yeah. And he has been doing some wheeling and dealing, so I trust Tim Connolly to do what's right, and hopefully he can bring season score. Maybe somebody like a Kevin Durant, maybe.
Possibly.
Wish fulfill that's pretty wish fulfillment on my part. That's the big rumor getting thrown around, the big ask. Now, would that be like to see it? Would that fill exactly what we need as another score to complement Ant? Absolutely. It'd be weird to kind of see that after how many years he's been around dominating. I would love to see it though.
Mhm. Yeah, no, so look at the T-Wolves draft right now. We have the number 17 pick and number 31 overall pick coming up here. So, I mean, odds up of finding, someone that we're gonna need to find a hidden gem that's there. I feel like essentially, find someone from Europe that just maybe hasn't gotten the exposure yet, or because you look at what was it, Luca? He got drafted late. Giannis, I feel like he got drafted late as well.
Jokic
Yeah,
is
Joker.
a 41st overall pick. So
No,
it's not like there's bad players in that spot. And like you'd almost not need they're probably not going to be stars on your team at that spot, especially year one. But those definitely could be a couple quality role players. And in the NBA, you're not going to turn down quality role players.
right.
And I'm like, yeah, so it's like interesting to see like what they can do with those picks. Last year, they ended up trading back for an extra first round pick with not a surprisingly lack of compensation, I felt like, to get another first round pick. And I thought we did very well in that draft to get Dillingham and Terrence Shannon Jr., who's provided a spark. And another guy I could see being a guy to take the jump next year.
We're gonna need to make a splash in the offseason. I feel like to make that next step to become a finals winning team. We're not we. I don't want to say this as a Minnesota fan because if you had told us 10 years ago that hey, in 10 years we're gonna be back to back Western Conference Finals, we would have laughed in your face because we were going to T-Wolves games with Nikola Pekovic and Andrew Wiggins and I don't even know who else. And we were going to those games cheap, and it was bad basketball to watch.
Fat Kevin Love.
Kevin Love was productive. It's
He
just
was,
we had a bad team.
yeah.
And,
No, they were very bad. That was very bad basketball. So yeah, no, I think the strides the Timberwolves have taken to get here, to get to this point is commendable, but it's not the top of the mountain yet, and I think they know that. They're going to work to get even higher to hopefully get to the mountaintop and hoist the Larry O'Brien trophy and bring that back to Minnesota. And will the question I think I'll have for this offseason, will we see a move from the Timberwolves bigger than the Cat trade last year?
ooh, that is a very big question. Because I'll be honest, I did not see that coming last offseason. Um, it seemed to work out well for both teams in the long run, but ooh, it's gonna be an interesting offseason. I feel like, with the Timberwolves executive team right now, with A-Rod kind of sealing the deal to buy the team, and who, who did we take? Was the Nuggets? Somebody with the Nuggets. It's our or our director of player personnel or something now.
Tim Conley
Yeah,
and
I feel like he's someone that would make a move like that. Just and I'm not trying to say this in a bad way, but in the past, it doesn't really seem like we've had the greatest GMs and are all Minnesota sports. Where I feel like in a window right now, we're in a window right now with uh, the Vikings guy, KW or Kawase or whatever his name is, and Tim Connolly right now. I feel like this is a very good situation we're in, Minnesota sports wise. Twins, we could use some help, but no offense to the pole lads, but
hopefully. Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel like the Timberwolves are definitely, I feel very confident in the hands of Tim Connolly. There's definitely been a lot worse GMs in Timberwolves history, so I think he knows what he's doing. He's got a good vision for the team, and he's going to be around for the long haul.
mhm.
Just signed again an extension to stay here for a while, so I see him building a contender with Ant at the center. So I trust him to make the right moves this offseason to hopefully improve
Mm.
on the last two seasons' results.
Yeah, I'm also hearing rumblings of A-Rod building a new arena, which would be out of downtown Minneapolis, which I think would be huge uh, for Minnesota sports fans. No offense to Minneapolis. I mean, Target Field's like a beautiful ballpark there, Target Center, great atmosphere, but you look at all these teams that have been successful the last few years, they all have new arenas, they all have brand new facilities. I feel like that would, be a stepping stone to take us to that next level here.
For sure. And it's just another way to revitalize fans, get more fan interest. A new stadium tends to do that, especially when the team's really good. So we'll be hopefully we can get that done in the next coming years, get even
Mhm.
more juice into the stadium,
Mhm.
bring a successful team back
Yeah.
to that stadium.
Mhm.
Will it still be called the Target Center?
That is a good question. I mean, I feel like that's just been and Target Center and Target Field. I mean, I feel like those are two iconic things right now in Minnesota, and kind of like the X, I guess. But with the X losing its naming rights, we'll see.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it'll always be the X to me, though.
No, I think that's just the thing with stadiums. It's you can spend a lot of money to change the name, but it doesn't mean people are gonna change with you. I
Uh-huh.
still think if you asked 100 White Sox fans, 95% of them say they play at Comiskey Park.
I still call it Kaminsky. So,
Yeah, so it's like everybody, yeah, so it's like you can change the name, but doesn't mean people are gonna change what they call it. It's probably gonna be the X, so hopefully an X brand takes with it so they can at least be close.
well, even with TCF Bank, I mean, we all call it the bank still. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well,
it's
fortunately, it's
Huntington
another.
Bank, I guess,
But yeah, it is another bank, but
it's still TCF Bank to me. It's still the bank.
bank. Yeah. That gets kind of confusing with U.S. Bank as well.
That is true. I just call US Bank the Dome. So,
And that's the dome, and
yep,
that's been the dome for
that's been the Dome for many years.
yeah, yeah. No, I think 1982 probably.
That
Maybe
sounds
maybe they
about
just call
right.
the new basketball arena the Met Center again. Go back to our roots.
Yeah.
But no, I think yeah, that's a big selling point for A-Rod. Probably his first big move as owner. I think that's the biggest thing he wants to get done is that new stadium. So hopefully
Mhm.
they can get it because otherwise I could see a move coming, and I don't think Minnesota sports fans want that right now.
Right.
So hopefully we get a new arena, shiny new
Mhm.
toy.